No dogs sold or raised for illegal purposes. This is a historical and entertainment-based channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, yeah. Episode 19. Yeah. Yeah. Let go. The latest Schoolboy and Mr. Gray interview. A deeper look into the Peruvian Dogs. The legacy of the late James Pope. Let us analyze the evidence on this episode of Bulldog Court. Bulldog community, please rise. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game.
Court is now in session.
Say, man, we back again for episode number 19. This is your host, Get a Hold James, because we got to get a hold of the game. You're underdeed. I'm so happy. People that come in and enjoyed episode 18. We got into a few things. We talked about T-Boy and his legacy. We talked about the AM staff and Pitbull cross dogs of the more modern era in Champion Nut and Grand Champion Farrar by the Buffalo Soldier. And we also talked about the Eli and Cottingham debate. You know, why didn't anybody, or do anybody know if anybody made it into a family? So that was the things we talked about last week. I appreciate all the commentary that was given, the banter back and forth about what different people in the Bulldog world and the Bulldog community thought about it. But I'm not going to hold your time today. We about to get into these cases. Do you understand what I'm saying? Say, man, if anybody did not catch the latest episode on Schoolboy Garcia's channel where he interviews Mr. Gray, this is part 5. This is the fifth rendition of fifth round of interviewing with Mr. Gray. It's always interesting. I'm gonna put a link in the description for this actual video. I'm gonna play a small clip or two from this video. I found it very interesting, and this is probably my first case is about this video and other stories that we have heard, or convoluting stories that we have heard about these animals' endowment of the past and things not being as they say they were when you revisit them from other people's eyes who were in and around during that same time period, ran in the same crews, and they began to talk and they began to tell their story. And you know, everything ain't in the water ain't clean. You know, there was some falsifications. The dogs that we thought that was this, they wasn't that, and nowhere near what they told you it was. But I'm gonna play the video. Like to hear it go.
Texas did get bit. Joey got in his brisket. Texas sat down and quit.
That was it.
Well, Texas sat down and quit in the match before that when he went into when Niggerhead beat Alligator Al, they give Al to Black Ball because he didn't scratch. And Black matched him into Texas. Then it was Black's turn to scratch, and Al didn't scratch again. Kirkland was screaming, I want courtesy, and guess what? Texas wouldn't courtesy.
Oh, shit.
Well, then McNasty, he seen that. He heard it, you know.
Right.
Texas sat on his ass and quit with a dog that's already been stopped.
Okay, so I want to stop right here to just say a few things about the clip I just showed you, and I look at this as a ripple effect of our view of the past. And once again, it's showing that the stories we kind of heard later on all kind of come out to be true about, you know, but before that, many years passed and there was no stories like these. about Texas, you know, and some of us seen the video of Texas and Joey. The match looked very one-sided, you know, and I know me personally, I had never heard of Texas quitting before the matchup. So him quitting, you know, and all that stuff, it just makes me ask the question and propose the question to the Bulldog community. How does these things once again make you view the past? When you hear stories like this that are very misleading, or very different from the stories we once heard about some of these same animals, and then when we know that, shout out to Bulldogging with Bo, they had an interview with Baccarit. Baccarit, you know, said that he felt as though that Grand Champion Joey was a hard-mouthed cur, and that McNasty cherry-picked his matches with that. Now you hear Mr. Gray saying that McNasty knew full well that Texas had already quit previously, so it made it easier for him to match Joey into Texas, which he was already a cur already. He already quit, and he felt like, you know, so that kind of killed a lot of, you know, at least in that scenario of people saying that the 18 McNasty and them were fierce competitors, because they also, if this is true, then they cherry picked also. So they ain't no different than Crenshaw or anybody else you might have heard of that cherry picked. And if they could get an easy win, they'll get one. And, you know, so it kind of put a dent in the legacy of certain people who we thought were hard-nosed competitors, and they wanted to go into the best with their very best. And when you come to find out your grand champion got a stand on his name in history, and that might explain why he never threw what he was. I'm referring to Grand Champion Joey. You know, rest in peace to those brothers. I mean, no disrespect to anybody who might hear this, family members or anything like that, about their legacy. The legacy already is cemented, but when we look back in the past and see certain things, you know, and we've heard things, and things not have always been all the way right with those guys as far as certain things and situations that they handle, you know. But we just strictly talking about the dogs. We're not talking about men's character or none of those things. We just talking about the dogs, and it makes you look at the legacy of certain animals differently once you hear these conflicting stories or stories of the truth of what really was going on. And a lot of the dogs that you thought were bulldogs were not bulldogs. And now we're finna listen to another situation right here.
Ajax actually only won 2 matches. Yes, he beat Gus, and he didn't beat Gus, sir. Old man Harry got fucked. Because before he ever got turned around, the guy had already released Ajax. He stepped over the wall and dropped him and let him run up on that old man in the corner. And I tell you what, that was wrong. Anytime you send a dog up somebody's ass, that's wrong, dude.
Should have been a foul.
See what I'm talking about? Do y'all really see what I'm talking about? Mr. Gray say, Grand Champion Ajax, well, not Grand Champion Ajax, only really won 2 matches. And he had to get the jump on Gus to get him, according to Mr. Gray. Man, it's too much for me, man. Y'all leave some comments and let me know what y'all think about this. This serious business right here. We're going to cut this off. We're going to have to do a revisit of this case. And I'm challenging everybody in the Bulldog world, the Bulldog community, to go and look at the interview that Schoolboy did with Mr. Gray, the latest episode, part 5. I will leave a link in the description. But in the case of The Schoolboy and Mr. Gray interview. This case is now dismissed. We'll get back to the show after these important messages.
Check out one of the best dog talk shows out here, Bulldog and with Bo, on Dogman TV, Thursdays and Sundays 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Shout out to his co-host, Nonstop.
Yeah, for my second case, a deeper look into the Peruvian dogs. Let us look into this. We have looked at the dogs of the Philippines, and now we are going into Peru. We may even come across some Ecuadorian dogs from Ecuador, but we see where some Ecuador dogs have made their way into Peru, and one of them a long time ago became Dog of the Year. Just an absolute specimen in every way. Grand Champion Revolucion Bola de Fuego, 4-time winner, 2-time Best in Show, 2-time Gamers in Show, and a Dog of the Year. Very impressive resume. Won his first one, Quelas Matrix, in 15 minutes. The Quelas in South Beach, Bala, 25 minutes. She beat Rockers and Orbe Bootlegger, 53 minutes. And our fourth one over Team Georgia, Black Susie, a champion that was a 3-time winner in 2 hours and 15 minutes. But by the description, it says Champion Super Bola de Fuego is an ace caliber female. She is the best 34-pounder in Peru. She competed against the best and won in great fashion each time. So this is just one fine example of a dog that, and we're going to the pedigree of this female champion. Lot of Mayday. He come off of Revolution Kennels Bamboo, R.I.P., who was off of Southern Kennels Bam Bam, George Tabata, which is some old Patrick's Invicto blood. You're going to use a lot of that down that way, and when you start getting into South America, you're going to see where the Invicto blood pops up, which is nothing but Patrick Bolio. We see where I see Southern Kennels on the bottom side. Revolution Kennels Bola is the dam. She is a granddaughter of Southern Kennels Iron Man. Now, you might not see this dog in the pedigree that much, but Southern Kennel Iron Man is a little mate brother to CML's Little John, registered American. Double and triple on that. As far as the Iron Man on the bottom side. So heavy, Rebel Jocko, Bolio Tombstone. And I just want to show you one more, which is Grand Champion Revolution's Grand Champion Scar. Now, Scar won number 4 in the International Convention, going into CMLs, or Cuban Mission Links. Pretty boy, 1-time winner, 1-time loser. And it says did not complete the courtesy to prove his game. Scar won Game Nation Show, showing a tremendous display of game. Traveled to international conventions to beat the likes of the Chosen Few for number 5. Grand Champion Scar showed to be a true warrior, traveling to another country and beating a very respectful kennel for his Grand Champion title. Won in 1 hour and 10 minutes and leaving the pit screaming for more. This dog is, for the most part, a tab Frisco haymaker dog. It's mostly tabbed through a champion called Lord's Leroy, which is off of White's Viper. Champion Lord's Leroy off of White's Viper. The same White's Viper that produced the Grand Champion Kaiser Sosa dog. Matter of fact, this dog is White's Viper on the top and the bottom. The top side, Champion Lord's Leroy. This dog is a double bred son of Champion Leroy, Lord's Leroy. It kind of made me, the way it's spelled, Loyd apostrophe S, remind me of the same person that owned Grand Champion Doc Holliday's name was spelled like that. The White's Viper dog was in the Louisiana area. 2 and 2 sometimes does equal 4, or it might equal 19 and a half. I could be all the way wrong, but I digress. These are just 2 high caliber animals that I'm talking about from Peru. I just want to take the time to highlight 2 dogs of the past from the country of Peru. And in the case of a look into the Peruvian Dogs. Maybe this is the first installment. This case is now dismissed. For our third and final case, salute to the Honorable J-Bo for this. The legacy of the late James Pope. Let us pause. Give a round of applause for the life and legacy of the late James Pope. Many people have done, or I would go back and say a few have done, because it's little known to many people what all that Mr. Pope had done for the game and his contribution in the game. Many of us got a chance to first know him on Pro and Game magazine. Shout out to Pro, wherever you are in the world. Salute, my brother. And then we got a chance to hear basically an intimate, up close, as far as we could hear a conversation with Going Hard twins and James Pope. And man, what a very interesting, hilarious, educational, insightful interview that was, and conversation that was, that we was able to just, sit back quietly and hear, and we heard, this guy, for all my Blackjack, Weird Jack, and all those guys who love this blood and use it to the very end, you will have no Blackjack if it were not for James Pope. I repeat, you would not have any Blackjack if it were not for James Pope. James Pope owned Wood Shirley too, who would give birth to Woods Amber, and Wood Amber, Wood Shirley too, key components on the bottom side of what you see Crenshaw's Black Girl, which is the dam of Grand Champion Blackjack. We're talking about that side of the family. Major component. Crenshaw talks about it a little bit in his book, about that bottom side being one of the main ingredients, being the main nucleus that makes the Blackjack dog what it is then and even today. So this is an African American dog, man. According to what twins say, never really was heavy in the hunting, but was heavy in the testing like nobody's business, and was very instrumental in educating the twins on what they were to look at and define as a real bulldog, and really looking at pedigrees, looking at lineages, the history of this breed, looking at families of dogs, studying, tracing these animals back to their original origins, and then looking at traits and characteristics of these animals. He was very instrumental. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. James Pope over near Houston. Very interesting character. Talked to him on the phone many occasions. Always had me laughing. Told me some very interesting stuff. Some stuff kind of hurt my feeling as an Eli man. But he, like he said on Pro and Game Show, you're gonna get a lot of curves. You're dealing with Eli, you're gonna get a lot of curves. He had a real raspy voice, and so spilled the beans on Woods Trouble, which is the sire of Chinaman. Said that he was the cur. He talked about I want to say either Black Betty, Middleton's Black Betty, or Middleton's or daughter Black Betty, but she also was a cur. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, hurt my feelings as, some of these dogs I really love, had dogs down off of them, only to find out that they were curs, I even was able to get one of a dog called Joe Black Jr. From Mr. Pope, and it may have been one of the last breedings that Mr. Pope did. I believe that Mr. Pope passed on Christmas Day of 2022. And I just want to take this time to salute a dog, man, that that doesn't get his just due, and just a great and tremendous, character in the game, So salute to the late James Pope, and this case and memory is now dismissed. Hey, yo, now it's time for my closing monologue. And like I say every time, make your next move your best move, but move strategic, like a chess move. I know it's a lot of stuff that we see and hear. You know, there's a lot of things that we trying to believe, but it's not true. We just have to decipher and rightly divide the word of truth and the Bulldog stories too. This is your host, Get a Hope James, because we got to get a hold of the game. I'm out.